Hi everyone, welcome to Cupboard Creations. My name is Gareth and this is my little corner of the internet for playing with my food. I'm going to take you through something today, absolutely adore. Really great as either a little snack, light lunch, or even made the size I'm going to do today for a full dinner. These are my chicken and chorizo pasties. Could call them empanadas. I'm kind of torn on which one they are, but they taste fantastic regardless. So we're going to start off very simply with the chorizo. We're looking for about 100 grams of chorizo, which is half of your average ring that you'll get down the supermarket. First thing we're going to do is just skin the sausage, which hopefully we can do quite simply by making a slight cut and then pulling that skin away. Brilliant. So now we need to cut this down into about 1 centimetre cubes. We want these quite small because you don't want to have large lumps of it in the pasta. You want it all to mix together so every bite you get the same amount of flavour in there. Okay, so now my chorizo's done. Turn my attention to the chicken. So I'm using chicken thighs here. You can use breast meat for this. Either way you want about 200 grams. I just like using the thighs because it's a lot cheaper and I really enjoy the flavour of them. So all we want to do, just have a quick check of your chicken thighs, make sure, especially if they're supermarket bought, get rid of some of those bits of fat and any sinew that's in the middle. That one's pretty good. Then do those in a minute. What we need to do now, just chop it up a little bit larger, probably about twice the size of the chorizo. Okay, so that's all my meat prepared. Put that to one side, ready for when we start cooking. And we're just going to focus on a couple of the other ingredients. We're going to go with 1 small onion. We want this quite finely diced. That's our onion done. Now the last thing we need to prep here is 200 grams of chestnut mushrooms. You can use other types of mushrooms. I just really like the flavour of the chestnut ones. I think they've got a real kind of earthy thing which goes so well with that chorizo and chicken. So you want these just cut them in half, and then you want to be able to cut them into about 6 bits. So you're looking, what's that, half a centimetre thick. Okay, so that's all chopped down now, and it looks like a huge amount of mushrooms, especially when this is only going to make 2 pasties, but they will really shrink down. Don't worry about that. The only other thing you'll need to prep is 2 tablespoons of thyme leaves. So I always do that beforehand just because it takes forever standing here pulling it apart. And I'm going to be using garlic infused olive oil for this just because it's a bit quicker. And I like the way it gets that garlic the whole way through all of the ingredients. If you can't get it, 2 cloves of garlic, just crush down really fine, chop them up as small as you can. Then you will just mix them in with it. But you'll add them all at the same time as you would the oil. So that should be fine. That's that. Now let's whack over to the hob and we can get cracking on the filling. Okay, so here we are. Got our pan on the hob, that's nice and up to temperature. Just going to add in about a tablespoon of olive oil. Maybe slightly more. And then to that we add in our chorizo. So one escaped. Nope, all good. So what we're going to do is we're going to fry that down until it crisps up a bit. So we're looking for just a slight discoloration on the outside, it will go slightly brown. Chorizo's now nicely crisped up, slightly changed colour. So now we're just going to add in our chicken. So all that oil now from the chorizo is going into that chicken. You're just bring in all those flavours. It's already happening where it's coming together. So we will just keep that chicken going, same as chorizo, just stirring it a bit until it's done. It's probably going to take you about 5 minutes. You've cut it quite small, so it'll cook pretty quick. And then we add in all the rest of our ingredients, so let's crack on with that. Brilliant. So the chicken's now cooked through. Any like slightly too large bits, it's the best way. You can just cut them in half with this spoon. That way, if it goes through, you know the chicken's cooked, so it's perfect. So now we're going to turn that right down. Then we're going to add in the rest. So we're going to pop our mushrooms in. It's a lot of mushrooms. We're going to put our onion in. Don't ask me why I decided to do that with my hand. But I did, so it's going everywhere. Perfect. Give that a good mix around. Then we want to add in our 2 tablespoons of thyme. Sprinkle that on top. And either our tablespoon of garlic oil or our 2 cloves of chopped garlic. Perfect. Again, we'll give that a little turn over, just try and get all of those flavours mixed in. And then we're going to cook that really, really low, probably about 8 minutes. What you're looking for is essentially the onions to have sweated down and the mushrooms to become a lot smaller, softer. Once that's done, we will have one more ingredient to add to it. So I'll see you when we're ready for that. Right, we now have some just beautiful flavours. Whole kitchen smells amazing. All of those little nuggets of chorizo have got into everything. So you've got this kind of darkened colour all through all of the ingredients. Everything's now a bit soft, so we've got our last special ingredient. And this really brings it together. And that's sweet sherry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 full tablespoons. Ooh, went a little bit over. Never mind. Sweet sherry in there. And then what we'll do is we'll just simmer that just for a couple of seconds until you've almost got like a glaze. So at the moment there's a fair amount of liquid in the bottom from both the sherry and the mushrooms. So if we just crank that up a little bit, get it simmering and bubbling away, we'll kind of pull that to the point where it's just stuck to the outside of everything. There we go. So all of that sherry and all of that juice that was at the bottom has now kind of become almost like I wouldn't say gravy consistency, but it's just glazing all of the meat. So you can tell, like when you push your spoon across the bottom, you get the bottom. All of the liquid just stays with the meat. And you want that because you want a little bit in, but as we're going to put it in a pastry, we don't want tons of it all running out the sides. That won't help. So at this point, all nice and mixed, we can turn it off. And that's one of the things I absolutely love about this meal, is there are a couple of points where you can jump in and jump out. So I can leave that now, let it cool down, stick it in a bowl, put it in the fridge, come back to it tomorrow and make the rest of it. It's perfectly fine. Everything in there's cooked through. So we can do that. Or we can just let it cool down and turn our attention to the pastry, put it all together now. So I'm going to get on with that. Get over and start doing the pastry while that cools. See you in a sec. Right, all our mixture is now cooled down a bit, so we can turn our attention to the pastry. So for this amount of mixture, I'm going to need half a block pastry, so 250 grams of shortcrust. We're just going to do about that much. And then all we want to do is on a clean work surface, dust it with a bit of flour, probably not that much flour. Excellent, well done Gareth. So there we go, nice dusting of flour there. And we'll take half of that block, that one will cut out, give that a squish down just to get it started. And we want to roll these out into about 1/2 centimetre thick, quite large because I mean there's a lot of filling there. That's perfect. So now we can take half of our mixture, plonk it right in the middle. Okay, so we just want to wet the edges. It's definitely easier doing this on a cold day. That pastry is getting warm pretty quick. Okay, and then we're going to fold that over here. Just try and gently give it a squeeze together. If you get a bit poking out, don't matter too much. Lovely. I'm just going to trim off those edges there. Round it off nicely. And with some dry hands, just fold that over and in on itself. Right, so just a few more things to do. They're looking pretty massacred. It's not my best work, but they're still going to taste great, and I don't care. So just going to egg wash the top of these. So a nice beaten egg. We want really good amount on there. The good thing about this is that egg, once it seeps in, any holes that are in the top, it's going to fill them anyway. Great, so that's done. Now, just a couple of holes in the top, just to let any steam out. Perfect. We always do that after we've egg washed it, because otherwise the egg wash is just going to go into the holes and it was pointless putting them in. But I can see there's a couple of little slits there that don't have egg in them. So put those there. Grab our baking parchment, and then what I'm going to do here is just put a little bit of vegetable oil on the bottom. So probably about a tablespoon. And then just rub that around. What I found this really helps with is kind of crisping up the bottom of the pasty. So you've got a nice crisp top with the egg wash, and then a nice crisp bottom as well. So now I'm going to gently, as gently as I can, lift my pasties on here. And then they'll go in a preheated oven at 180 degrees for about half an hour. So I'll get them in there, I'll come back to you and show you what we get. What we've had. There you go. It's not perfect, there's a few holes opened up in the top, but they're going to taste great. So there we go. One chicken and chorizo pasty. And you can tell from the bottom, nice and crisp. So here we go, there's our pasty. Looking great. Wow. Absolutely lovely, wonderful meal. That's my chicken and chorizo pasty. Absolutely beautiful. Kind of got those flavours of essentially Spain in there as well. So, and it's an empanada, it's a pasty, who knows. Tastes wonderful. Give it a go. It's not the easiest one to get all of the pastry right, but it doesn't matter if it's wrong. It's all about the flavour. So hope you enjoy it. Catch you next time. Cheers.